are the objectives. Okay, this is objective 1 here, evaluate exponential function, and the questions about this objective would be like this: example 1, or question 5, 9, or this exercise. All of these exercises are about objective 1. Now objective 2, what is objective 2? Graph. How would he ask about this objective? This is the question. Graph f of x equals 2 to the power x. How do you answer this question? Like this. Okay. Now we know now that the graph of b to the power x, when b is greater than 1, is an increasing function like this, with horizontal asymptote y equals to 0. Now let us talk about the graph of y equals half to the power x. Now if you look here, what is b? b here is half, and half is less than 1. So the graph would be like this, decreasing. Let us do it. I know the graph, so I will always choose 3 values. You can choose more than that if you like. -1, 0, and 1. If you replace x by -1, half to the power -1 is 2. If you replace x by 0, half to the power 0 is 1. So at -1 it is 2. At 0 it is 1. At 1, half to the power 1 is half, and you connect the points. So this is the graph of half to the power x. The domain again are real numbers, the range again from 0 to infinity, and again this line اللي هو y equals to 0 is a horizontal asymptote. This line is a horizontal asymptote. So that's the graph of this function, half to the power x. So let us now graph, for example, f of x equals 1 over 3 to the power x. Okay, what is b? b is 1 over 3. Is 1 over 3 greater than 1 or less than 1? It is less than 1. So what would be the graph of this function? It would be like this. This is the graph immediately. I know the graph. If we want to take points, we can choose points, and 3 points are enough. At -1, if x is -1, 1 over 3 to the power -1 is 3. So this is 3. Okay, and it's not. I will make it now accurate. So at -1, 1, 2, 3. At -1, it's 3. At 0, 3, 1 over 3 to the power 0 is 1. At 1, it is 1 over 3. And this is the graph of this function. Okay, that's the graph of this function. So this is the function f of x or y equals 1 over 3 to the power x. And any function when b is less than 1, any exponential function, see, very similar. It's the same as this one, similar to this graph exactly. And again, the line y equals to 0 is a horizontal asymptote. What about 0.6 to the power x? I leave it for you to solve this question. If x is -1, طبعا 0.6 is less than 1, so the graph would be exactly like this one. Just if طبعا if x is 0, y is 1. If x is 1, 1 تطلع 0.6 to the power 1. If x is -1, you can find بالcalculator 0.6 to the power -1. الأنصر 1.7, approximately 1.7, and you sketch the graph of this function. So at -1, this is 1, this is 2, so it is 1.7. At 1, it is 0. At 0, it is 1. At 1, it is 0.6. So the graph like this as usual, because b is less than 1. So now you know that the graph of any exponential function, if b is greater than 1, the graph would be like this. Okay, so here 7 to the power x, here 2 to the power x, here the base is 2 in the black, here in the green the base is 7. While if the base is half, the graph would be decreasing like this. If the base is half, 3 over 4, the graph would be decreasing like this because it's less than 1. So either the graph is increasing or decreasing. In both cases, we have the point 0, 1. The y-intercept is the point 0, 1. And we have the horizontal asymptote, the line y equals to 0. So these are here, we have the characteristics of the exponential function of this form. Any function of this form have some characteristics, يعني مميزات. إيش؟ Any function مهما كانت ال b, whatever b is, always a domain, always the domain from negative infinity to infinity, and always the range from 0 to infinity. Second, the graph pass through the point 0, 1. All the graphs of b to the power x pass by this point, يعني 0, 1 هي ال y-intercept. Why? Because b to the power 0 is 1. Because if x is 0, y would be 1. And that's the y-intercept. So y-intercept is 1. Good. Now we have two cases. If b is greater than 1, the graph would be increasing function like this, like the blue one, like this one. Okay, increasing. If b is less than 1, وطبعا لازم تكون greater than 0 من الديفينيشن. احنا قلنا من الديفينيشن ال b has to be greater than 0. فاذا يا greater than 1 يا less than 1. If it is less than 1 هيكون الجراف decreasing like this. خلاص. Just know this information. Put it in your mind. This is the graph of the exponential function. If b is greater than 1, this is the graph. If b is less than 1, this is the graph. That's it. That's all what you need to know. والhorizontal asymptote, the horizontal asymptote is the line y equals to 0. This function is one-to-one function. If you remember from 002, a function is one-to-one if it passes the horizontal line test. And if you sketch horizontal lines, each horizontal line intersects the graph in no more than 1 point. But this is the case here. So the exponential function is one-to-one. What is the meaning of that? It has an inverse. What is the inverse of the exponential function? It is the logarithmic function, and we will study the logarithmic function in the next section, inshallah. Also, the graph of b to the power x approaches the x-axis. So the x-axis اللي هو line y equals to 0 is a horizontal asymptote for any exponential function. Even for any exponential function, domain always negative infinity to infinity, range from 0 to infinity, y-intercept 0, 1, horizontal asymptote y equals to 0, the function has an inverse. If b is greater than 1, the function is increasing. If b is less than 1, the function is decreasing. These are the characteristics of the exponential function. Now let us move to a very important point, which is transformations. Transformations of exponential functions. We studied transformations in 001, different kinds of transformations. We will do transformations here of exponential function. Exponential functions اللي هي y equals b to the power x. What are the transformations? If you add plus c here, plus c or minus c, so you are changing in y. When you change in y, this is a vertical translation. It's called vertical translation. So plus 3, for example, we shift the graph 3 units upward, plus c upward. If it is 2 to the power x minus 5, فال 5 shift the graph 5 units downward. Notice that C here is always a positive number. Okay, C is a positive number. فبلس 5 C5 positive, minus 5 C5 أيضا positive. إذا the graph, for example, if he asks about what is the graph, يعني مثلا let us write it here. This is the graph of 2 to the power x. Now, this line is the horizontal asymptote. If you take the graph 1 unit up, the horizontal asymptote would be y equals 1. And the equation would be, or the graph would be like this. And here, this is the function y equals 2 to the power x plus 1. So we are shifting this graph 1 unit up. Now, if you take the graph 1 unit down, then the horizontal asymptote will go 1 unit down. It would be y equals -1. And the graph would be like this. And this is the graph of 2 to the power x minus 1. So this is the vertical shifting. This is the vertical translation. Okay. طيب. What happens if you change in x? لاحظ هنا x plus c. ال plus c مش out, لا up in the power. فهنا you are changing in x. فإذا plus c you go left. انتبه. plus c left. هنا plus c up. هنا plus c left بالعكس. minus c you go right. Okay. minus c right. So this is a horizontal translation. يعني for example, this is the graph. Use هذا الexample like this. Use the graph of 3 to the power x to obtain the graph of 3 to the power x plus 1. What happened? Instead of x, we wrote x plus 1. So we move 1 unit to the left. We shift the graph 1 unit to the left. What would happen? This is the graph of 3 to the power x. We shift it 1 unit to the left. We get the graph of 3 to the power x plus 1. So if you replace x here by -1, you get 1. You not get 1 over 3. So you shift the graph 1 unit to the left. Okay, because it is 3 to the power x plus 1. For example, here, what happens? Use the graph of f of x equals 2 to the power x to obtain the graph of 2 to the power x minus 3. Minus 3. We go 3 units down. We shift the graph 3 units down. So this is the graph of 2 to the power x. We take it 3 units down. So the horizontal asymptote, instead of being y equals 0, it would be y equals -3. And this point 0, 1 will come 3 units down. 1, 2, 3, تصير 0, -3. Okay. Every point in the graph, you take it 3 units down. This is the graph of 2x, 2 to the power x minus 3. Good. So we know now the vertical translation and the horizontal translation. This is the first type of translations. There is another type, which is reflection. What is reflection? If you multiply by negative sign outside y, if you multiply y by negative or x by negative, what happens if you multiply y by negative? Reflect about x. Reflection about x-axis. If you multiply x by negative, reflection about y-axis. Okay, let us take an example. Yani, this is the graph of half to the power x. What would be the graph of -half to the power x? it would be reflection about the x-axis. You multiplied y by negative, so it would be reflection about the x-axis. So this would be the graph. This is the x-axis. So you reflect the graph about the x-axis. A line, notice that the line y equals to 0 is still a horizontal asymptote. Y equals to 0 is a horizontal asymptote. Nothing happened. Reflection only. Reflection, انعكاس, reflection about the x-axis. Okay. طيب, what about if you multiply x by minus, negative x? Then you reflect the graph, the original graph, هو هذا الجراف, you reflect this graph about the y-axis. Okay, about the y-axis. هذا y-axis, reflection about the y-axis, فالجراف would be like this. Again, asymptote is y equals to 0. طبعا notice that الماينس هذه, what does it change? الحقيقة half to the power negative x is 2 to the power x. لأنه الماينس you find the reciprocal of half. والreciprocal of half is 2. لأنه if you remember we said that a over b to the power negative 1 هي b over a. فإذا this is the graph of 2 to the power x. فthis is the reflection. Okay, this is the reflection. If you multiply by minus y by minus or x by minus. The last part of transformations, or the last type, vertical stretching or shrinking, if you multiply y by c, well, horizontal stretching or shrinking if you multiply x by c. If you multiply y by c, it would be vertical stretching if c is greater than 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be vertical shrinking if c is less than 1, half, 1 over 3, 1 over 4. الهوريزونتال stretching بالعكس. If c is greater than 1, it would be shrinking, horizontal shrinking. If c is less than 1, it would be horizontal stretching. طبعا horizontal shrinking كده, horizontal stretching كده, vertical stretching like this, or vertical shrinking like this. These are all the types of transformations. For example, let us solve these exercises quickly. هنا use the graph of 3 to the power x to obtain the graph of 3 to the power x minus 1. If I want to sketch a graph هنا with a table, طبعا you can do it quickly like I did it here, quickly without points. But if I want to use points, I will do like this. Please pay attention. This is x and this is y equals 3 to the power x. Now I know the graph, so I'm going to choose the 3 points which we deal with always, negative 1, 0, 1. 3 to the power negative 1, this is 1 over 3. 3 to the power 0 is 1. 3 to the power 1 is 3. So what is the graph? This is the graph of 3 to the power x at negative 1. Okay, at negative 1 it is 1 over 3, at 0 it is 1, at 1 it is 3. So the graph is like this. This is the graph of f of x. Okay, now what happens when you write x minus 1? الحقيقة هنا you add 1 بالعكس يعني you add 1 to each x coordinate هنا في التابل. فthe new table يعني التابل of g of x, التابل of g of x هيكون 1 over 3 1 3 يعني y does not change, لكن we add 1 to each x, فminus 1 plus 1 0, 0 plus 1 1, 1 plus 1 2. And if you sketch the graph of g of x at 0 it is 1 over 3, هذا ال1 فعند الزيرو هنا. At 1 it is 1. At 2 it is 3. وبالتالي the graph goes like this. طبعا what happened انه 1 unit to the right, because this is x minus 1. We said if it is x minus 1, we go 1 unit to the right. So this is the graph of g of x, and this is the graph of f of x. You can try to solve this exercise using the same method. And inshallah, next time, also these exercises, 29, you can solve it by yourself. 31 also, 33 also, you can, all of these, you can do it by yourself. Inshallah, next time, we will talk about objective 3. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, please ask.